You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2, Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 Heels and a Face.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Twos and Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, Chris, we have the winner of the last ever buffet bracket.
Last ever. That's right.
Does that hurt when you say that still?
No? It doesn't hurt, but it's like, damn, really? The last one? But yeah, this is the last year. We got to go out with a bang, and what a Cinderella story we have here with the champ. So
yeah,
I think it's a good way to go out,
A person who was not initially in the if you're not familiar, the buffet bracket is a parody bracket we do around March to kind of pile on with March Madness, and it's fan voted. We did indie wrestling champs, and Sean Logan ended up winning it. He was our Cinderella run. He wasn't even in the initial draft of the bracket, and then the rabbi, whose name I still can't remember, was banging on our door, and he's like, why aren't any of my champions in this bracket? And we're like, oh crap. So we had a play-in match, and then he ended up winning. So we're gonna have Sean Logan on today to talk and hang out and chat. Chris, how you doing? How was your WrestleMania weekend? I mean, that just recently happened. The Dome recently just happened for Ego Pro. But how you been, man?
Yeah, dude. It's been good, man. I definitely enjoyed Mania. I wasn't fully watching 100% of the time, but I tuned in for Penta. I tuned in for Ray Phoenix.
Of course, I know he's there now too. Yeah, we haven't really talked about that, but yeah.
Yeah, man. But overall, I think it was good. I got Ivan to sit down with me, my younger son, and he enjoyed some wrestling as well. I didn't even know Itzel, my 9-year-old, knew what yeet was in relation to Jay Uso, but she's like, as soon as I'm like, oh, Mania's on, we had it in the background, and she's like, oh, Jay Uso's wrestling. He's the yeet guy. I'm like, yeah, sure.
You're like, you stole that from Laney Luck. Did you say, hey, you stole that from Laney Luck?
I did not, but no, I should have. Yeah, man, no, it's been good. It's been good, and it's also good to see, Ego Pro running out of the Dome, and seems like it was a good time out there too. So, yeah, and I mean, closing out, with this week for me with this recording with the buffet bracket champion, I can't ask for a better week, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I saw some of the highlights. I saw Cena broke the record and stuff like that. I was at a bar in New York that night that happened, and someone who wasn't in the bar put on Word Life on the touch tunes in the bar I was on, after he won. They sniped it though, because I was looking around at the bar, and no one reacted to the song except me. So someone you can put on touch tune songs, you don't have to be at the bar to do that. And that was I think my WrestleMania moment was hearing Word Life at a random bar in New York. But Chris, enough beating around the bush. Why don't we bring in our champion? We're on the road to 300 episodes. I think this is 281. So why don't we welcome in the buffet bracket winner 2025, Sean Logan.
Sean Logan.
Hello.
Yo.
Sean.
Welcome.
The winner. We're life, he said.
How you doing, man?
I am fantastic. I am very happy to be on the pod, and it gives me just another thing to do in my I feel like, I'm always trying to accomplish a lot of things throughout every day, so this is just another thing that's on my list that makes me excited to accomplish. So yeah.
Yeah, we're part. So how often you're behind, there's a ring behind you right now if people are watching on YouTube. So what is the weekly schedule like? Is it obviously shows on the weekend, but how many times are you training and doing stuff on your own, to build your brand during the week?
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to schedule something every day, right? And usually try to train here. So this is a gym that I created. it's kind of just my own little hut. That's my gym for bodybuilding, pro wrestling. Eat my meals, tan, sauna. Yeah, I mean, kind of do it all here. And so I'll be here about 5 days a week. I will say this last 10 days was kind of rough because I was out there for Mania for Vegas,
Cool.
or Vegas for Mania,
Yeah.
and then I just got done doing the Indianapolis Squared Circle Expo for 2 days. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I have not. I just today was the one of the first, and then I had acting class last night in Chicago, and then what, like you said, the rabbi, we were filming promos for the Cubby Bear show coming up. So I have not seen this place in about 10 days. So it's good to be back.
Damn, that's a lot. Wait, time out. So there's some things I want to unpack there.
Yeah.
You created a gym. What does that mean? Is that is this your place I'm looking at? Like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, so this is like this is a gym that it's my bodybuilding
Oh my
workout
God.
gym. Let's take a little 3.
Oh my God, it's amazing. If you're not watching on YouTube right now, I suggest you switch. This is so cool.
But yeah, so that is where I'm at. I'm on the ring steps, but yeah, I guess long story short, this was a storage building. My parents have a restaurant, and the landlord owned this piece of property.
Okay.
We just used it as storage, and then I had a little 12 by 12 wrestling ring in it. That being said, my parents are like, well, why don't you actually I'm always training here, so they're like, why don't you actually try to buy the place? I'm like, me owning a piece of property, like what? So then I end up, buying the place, and then I kind of just got really creative
Yeah.
and painted the walls, decorated how I wanted, got every piece of equipment I wanted, and yeah, now I'm obsessed. It's like a man cave, I guess, but I don't know, I don't own my own house, but I guess I own this. I thought maybe it was more practical to build a place to kind of conquer your dreams instead of own a piece of property to live in, I guess. But that's where I'm at. I'm a little different, but I think it's more important for me. So
Yeah, I think if
That's
you
awesome.
can conquer your dreams, then you can buy yourself as many houses as you want if you make it. So
you're
I think
right. Yeah,
it's the right
exactly.
progression of steps,
Absolutely, yeah.
And then it looks like yeah, like I see stuff on the walls. It looks like a whole, like if you were to dump out your brain into a room, right? It looks like an entire reflection of yourself. So is there inspirations on the walls? Do we have some
Yeah, I
wrestlers
can
up there?
take you.
What are we looking at?
I can take you.
Yeah, Chris, do you mind? I don't think.
Let's take a tour.
So, all right. Well, first thing, all the painting stuff. My sister's a tattoo artist in Wrigleyville. She got the opportunity, right? She's supposed to paint everything herself, but
Okay.
she moved. Wasn't gonna come back here and paint it. So I was like, I gotta become an artist. So yeah, there's quote so we can start here. I don't know, do this little tour. So this is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to reach your goals? This is a bodybuilder that died named Rich Piana. I always love that quote because I really don't think there's many people really willing to do whatever it takes to reach their goals. So I always try to have that to remind myself,
Mhm.
I need to do that. Painted this one day or day one. I think so many people procrastinate about doing that first step of whatever they're trying to chase or whatever they're
Yeah.
scared to do. And I always remember you could do it one day, one to do it. So yeah, I mean, uncommon amongst uncommon. Like David
Okay.
Goggins says it. I think I love that quote because it's. I think he talks about being a Navy SEAL, but I love it because I think in professional wrestling, I'm doing something uncommon. However, I think a lot of people could fall flat and just be plain vanilla and fall right into the mix of the things. So you got to
Mhm.
remember that you also got to be uncommon amongst uncommon to stand out.
Yeah.
So, but then you get little things like I paid Sponge Muscle Bob,
That's
so
awesome.
Why
yeah,
not? Right? Why
you
not?
never know. But there's quite a bit. I got I always gotta make sure I got my boys, my wrestlers. I got Roddy.
Okay.
WrestleMania. I think that's a great one too. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I think in life you're gonna you're gonna feel pain somehow. So you're legit either pain, like feeling the pain of like
Yeah.
discipline of working towards stuff, or if you don't do that, well, you're gonna feel the pain of regret of never doing your stuff. So, but yeah, and like some
I
of my
love it.
favorite manias, like I painted one of my favorite
That
manias.
looks really good. Holy shit.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I know my sister, like she's supposed to do all this,
Yeah.
So, but now we
Wait,
became
WrestleMania
artists.
2000? That's a great, amazing. No Mercy is a little better, but still like the two best video games, I think, wrestling video games in the world. Those two.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, I'm just like I'm a super fan, man. I'll just get in the ring here real quick, but and then I got a bunch of posters. I'm a very
Hell
old school
yeah.
guy, even though I'm 25 years old. I'm obsessed with old, uh, kind of old school vibes there.
Yeah.
So
Respecting the elders.
yeah,
Holy
but
shit. Have you shown anyone this before? This is amazing.
yeah, I mean, there's time. I feel like I don't know. Some people have seen it. I'm slowly starting to make waves of people coming out to train more. I think
Okay.
it's just like I'm in the middle of. I'm in like. If you guys ever heard like NIU Huskies, that's like
Yeah.
DeKalb,
Hmm.
Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm like in the middle of Illinois, and like it's kind of like I got my guys that are in Black and Brave, but they're about 2 hours west.
Right.
So like those people, they can always train there. And then my Chicago guys, there's plenty of places to train in Chicago. So it's like no one necessarily wants to ever come meet in the middle, which there are some.
Yeah.
There are some that do it, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, I think it's slowly making its ways. I mean, I feel like I'm getting more people to come out, do photo shoots, train. Sometimes I had a YouTuber come out and like just pretty much do a gym tour, and actually just got a call last night. A buddy of mine wants to do a music video here, so it's like,
Holy shit.
you never know.
That's amazing. I love I'm hearing a lot about it on like the on Potting with Ego recently, the like Chicago and Iowa connection that there
Okay.
kind of is, and that may have always been the thing, but like a lot of there's always like an Iowa car at some shows.
Yeah.
And there is like kind of those groups intermixing a little bit, like Black and Brave people plus like with freelance people or whatever, AAW, etc. So it's cool that it seemed they both groups kind of seem to be elevating each other and having
Yeah.
each other on different shows and like inviting cars in and stuff like that. So you're kind of you're the halfway point between the two.
Yeah, I am, and it is a great thing in wrestling. I love like I'll go to like AAW to wrestle, and I love seeing how there's like that happens at Dreamwave a lot too. But like there'll be a Minnesota carload, a St. Louis carload,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana carload, Wisconsin, and it's like crap. It's crazy how just like all these. The country's so big, but it's like, man, there's really only like a handful. Like sometimes it is a small world with like whenever realm of if any entertainment or whatever you're in, but you just meet all these people, and it's crazy how like you make the towns, but you're back
Mm-hmm.
like at one promotion brings you back together.
Yeah. So your dedication, I think, just learning that is like very inspiring. Like Chris, I don't know if you're like to
Yeah.
see that like, a thing a day kind of mentality. Is what I want to know like what you're building towards. So do you have a vision of like what you're building towards, or are you just kind of more day by day?
Yeah, is that with the gym or with like my career?
Probably your career. Yeah, your career like goals.
Yeah, like I think my top 3 goals in life right now are want to be this kind of bounced around times, because I think some people be like, I mean, I do the hot dog and the handshake, and I do ask like
Yeah.
people's like biggest goal, and that's like one of my favorite questions. And it's like a lot of people say like they want to make money, and it's like, okay, like it's important to make money. People want to say that they want to get signed, and that's important, right? But like at the end of the day, if you ask yourself, like, I don't know, like when you're just a student of the game and you're just obsessed with this, like all
Mm-hmm.
you want to do is wrestle. And like to fill my dates, like if I could have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday wrestling, like man, it's fantastic. Like that's all I want to do. Like money doesn't mean anything when I'm wrestling. every day, you know, and that's just the beauty of doing what you love and what you're obsessed with. Because people may think you're crazy. People may say, "Crap, all you do is wrestle," but like, it's like, all right, this is my love, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like, now I guess my true goal would be my true number one, you know, because that has bounced around, right? It would
Hmm.
be to be the best version, of like a professional wrestler like I could be, like the best version of my that exists. You know, there's all these
Yeah.
alternate universes. I'm sure there's a universe where Sean Logan's just like a mediocre wrestler, you know, and people could say I'm a mediocre wrestler now, you know, whatever. But like when it's all said and done, I want to know that like the life I'm in right now is the version of the best possible version of Sean Logan. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want to do, and that and in professional wrestling mainly, but like in life too. But um, yeah, I would say number one would just be make I like as long as I can know that I was the best possible wrestler of myself. That's
Yeah.
number one. But I'm obsessed with bodybuilding too, and you know, I want to just have the best physique possible, and then I really enjoy powerlifting, and
Okay.
I wanna just hit all my PRs, you know. So that's my
Yeah.
goals, you know.
Reach your prime basically, and
Yes,
live in
yeah.
your prime. Yeah. Chris, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, right? So as you're, you set yourself up, for success in this way, where it's like it's visible, right? Through this camera, we can see the effort
Yeah.
that you're putting into it, right? But it's like who, and also looking at the artwork, the quotes, the posters, like who are your inspirations? Like where do you draw inspiration from? Like are any,
Hmm.
whether in the pro wrestling world, like any former wrestlers, like where do you draw your inspiration from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always remembered, you know, some people I used to like early on, I used to like hang up little quotes before I put it up. And I remember a couple guys come in here and be like, "Oh, like you got all these cheesy quotes, you know," and or like I'll have like one picture of like someone and they'll be like, "Oh, why is that guy on your wall?" But then I heard Arnold kind of say he said he's like, you know, I used to hang up pictures of Reg Park and Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali and like bodybuilders, inspiration athletes on his wall, and he go to sleep at night staring at them, and like that was like crap. Why not just like go to bed, you know, or surround yourself with everything that inspires you? So yes, I kind of like said screw what other people think. Like Arnold's right, you know, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that's why I want to surround myself with the quotes that pretty much I would say the people specifically in professional wrestling. I think Undertaker is my guy. He's the guy that got me into this.
Okay.
I saw him on the screen and just got hooked right in. But like Triple H, his look is just fantastic, and I just that is he's just inspires me to be like the for a look, long hair. Just he just
Yeah.
look like if you look up like I imagine if you look up professional wrestler, I just picture like the average human Google's that. I feel like Triple H pops up, or maybe Shawn Michaels. You know, I just
Hmm.
think of muscles, long hair, and that kind of attire. You know, but then yeah, pure wrestling. I love Bret Hart. That's honestly why in the back you probably can't see it there, but I have Bret, Triple H, Taker right there in the biggest
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, I
The
saw
big
So
Triple H
three.
and Taker. I didn't recognize the first one.
yeah, so we got Bret
Mhm.
there. So those are the three wrestlers, and then in the like bodybuilding lifestyle, I guess I don't know, even like motivation. I love Rich Piana. He's the bodybuilder that passed away. Um, and he died in 2017. But like, there's some of the stuff he says. If I flip on a Rich Piana YouTube video, I just get hooked right in. The other guy is Tom Platz, bodybuilder. He's still alive, and man, that Tom Platz work ethic is just freaking life changing. And I would say my last one is David Goggins. Man, that guy, anything that guy says, I freaking worship because it's just, I
Yeah.
feel like I just resonate with it every time. So those are truly in wrestling and in life and bodybuilding. Those are my inspirations.
I love it. I love it. I love the how you mentioned Arnold too. I feel like whenever I hear bodybuilding, Arnold was like the OG. Arnold was like the Hulk Hogan of bodybuilding, right?
Oh
Is that
yeah,
is that is that like a good comparison?
And if you want to put that, so I got Hogan right there, right? But
Yeah.
then right across from him, we got Arnold up there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're definitely right about that.
Yeah. There's always that clip of like him doing the like Arnold press or whatever with his shirt off, and like it's like a 80s or whatever. Like that is like the standard like first bodybuilding clip I think of.
Oh yeah, that golden era was like no other. That's freaking. Like, it was like the '70s. Yeah, it was the '70s. So
Yeah.
that had to be a way. Just being in that era or watching them in that era had to be crazy. But
I want to touch on the hot dog and a handshake. I think that's really I like the and also too. I think that you stick out or be uncommon, like you said. Like Cris and I always have this conversation. How do we be different than other podcasts? And that's why like we had the buffet bracket, which we will touch on, and that's why like I don't know. We have different interview styles too. Like this is a little bit more hop around because we want to get to know you, but we've done like the buffet line style where it's just a little bit more structured. But like so your thing with the hot dog and a handshake, obviously everyone knows that line, but you kind of put a positive spin on it. And
yeah,
also it's like 3 quick questions too, which I think is like that's how our brains are wired now, where
yep.
it's just the immediate like gratification, that immediate like serotonin boost you get from Instagram reel, and like you jump right into the shit immediately with someone. So like I want to talk about like how you came up with that idea, and then like are you enjoying it and things like that.
Yeah. So me and my dad, we actually kind of I would say he kind of came up with it more. I think I came up with the structure of the show, but he said the name. Obviously, we know the name Hot Dog and the Handshake, real basic. So he just said that should be the name of your show, and I was like, okay, well, what if I actually like give him a hot dog and a legit
Yeah.
handshake? You kind of you gotta have a shtick to it. Then I was just like, and respect to you guys because like I think starting a podcast and kind of and not being like a celebrity, right? I think it's such a scary thing, and that's like,
Mhm.
man, are people gonna listen to me? Talk like, do I have the confidence to like, have good speaking skills for an hour, and just be
Yeah.
entertaining that long, and like, you're trying to capitalize on a human or a viewer or the consumer's time, and you're
Yeah.
right. Like and what we live in today is very just. I got that much time to hook them in, and
Yeah.
I do find it at times I want to be a little bit more entertaining and a little more, elaborate onto the questions, and I don't want to kind of just like ask and not like acknowledge. I always hate. I always tell my dad like, hey, if someone's telling you a story, like acknowledge what they said, then tell your perspective
Yeah.
versus just like, okay, my story. So
Yeah.
I do feel like on the show, I do kind of just like rapid fire the questions, but that's kind of what it is. I'm just trying to, I thought of 5 questions that I love to hear and I
Mhm.
would love to know what each, because you don't really get to hear it too much. I know a lot of times like the how did you first get introduced or, what, caught you. I think I just like know that because I don't know. There's many times where I hear a podcast and they'll have a guest on and they'll be like, okay, like let's say it's a name, right? And they're
Mhm.
signed, they had a whole 10-year career in WWE or something. And you may hear like, okay, yeah, like I was training and then I got signed. And I'm always like, wait, what's like, I want to hear the in between of that, And so I don't
Yeah.
know. But in my show, I definitely just try to get to the point and just rapid fire. And truly, the reason I started it was I did a Gabe Sapolsky seminar, and he's the WWE recruit guy right now, especially head guy for the WWE ID stuff. And I really just like kind of just been really investing my time and energy into that realm right now this last 8 months. And
Okay.
with that being said, there's a girl named Maddie Rinkowski, right? And she's now Ren St. Clair on NXT.
Okay.
And she had this little show on Instagram, right? And she said, she just interviewed people for a second in character or whatever. And I always saw that. I'm like, oh, that's good content. Like that, it's just another thing to do on your Instagram and just, fully capitalize on
Yeah.
this platform that we all have. And I remember in the seminar he brought that up because that was one of the recruits that he got. Pretty much gave the opportunity to try out, and they signed her. And I was like, oh my god, like that was kind of my like, let's finally start this show because I was always on the fence, right? And I'm like, it's gonna be stupid. Like this ain't gonna work. And it's like you never know until you try. And but that was kind of when I did that seminar and he mentioned that I was like, crap, this is a sign to do it. So it was scary at first because it's like, how do you even start? But now I really enjoy it. And, and he also said, he's like, they're not necessarily going to look at this, to get you signed. But like, you see guys like Jack Vaughn and Ben Bishop, I just had on the show today. They're capitalizing on, using social media and being entertaining on it. And they're gaining followers. And in today's day and age, you may just want to see them wrestle not because of like they're doing a 450 or not because they're doing a crazy choke slam, but maybe it's just because you follow them and you enjoy their content. You're like, I want to
Yeah.
go support them.
Yeah, definitely. Wait, Jack Vaughn, is that the guy who does the different like the old school guy who does the different like running off the rope styles?
Yeah. He'll do
Yeah.
like a lot of time. Yeah, I think it's like he'll do versions of like new school, old school, or like
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like if I saw that guy at a show, I would be like, "Oh, that's the guy that like makes fun of like people slapping their leg." So like
Yeah.
I immediately will associate him with just a random reel I saw. And I think to your point, it gives you something to post too.
Yes.
And that last time we talked with Trent was really putting over, and I know you've had her on too. The Hot Dog and Handshake shows, Maggie Lee. He's like she posts every day. She's in my feed every day, and
Exactly.
like that. If you can use this as like, okay, I can knock out 5 of these because I have access. The wrestlers know me. I have access to them. It's quick. It's not a huge time commitment for them. They enjoy it, and now you got your thing to post 5 days in a row if you wanted to.
For real.
Without having to think about it. So it's a very like I think it's smart. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I think it's truly like you could be a good professional wrestler in ring, or you could really maximize. And I know I'm not the best in ring performer, right? And I want to be, right? And that's why we train still, right? We're going to get better, but you might as well try to take every realm of how to get into this business and get signed because what we see people get signed because they look fantastic, and we see other people get signed because they do a shooting star cutter or something like that, and they go viral, but might as well. That's why I power lift. I try, that's a realm. I'm doing acting school right now. I was doing Duolingo, but I did kind of fumble on that, so I definitely gotta get back at that. But just to like have another language, in case you wrestle somewhere else, and it's like, oh, we need a guy who could translate, or something. Just capitalize on every opportunity, all the doors. I want to have all the doors that I could possibly get my foot in to get signed, and like I want to make sure that I touched on all of them instead of just one.
Yeah, Chris, like the luchas. I appreciate that, Chris.
the bilinguals, yeah, for sure. But I mean, you brought up, with the hot dog and a handshake. As you're, talking about like, taking a chance at content creation and taking a chance at different things, different angles to capture some audiences. It made me think about Ethan Page, right? Indie wrestler, sure, like he had, he was going all over the place, but he started the vlog,
The
and then
vlog.
eventually the vlog, and eventually ended up at AEW and now made his way to NXT. But again, it's capturing that audience, and and the cool thing here is that when we started this podcast, like there's still like 20,000 other wrestling podcasts, but during that time, everybody was starting a podcast. So it's like, where's our niche? What do we really want to do? What are we going to enjoy? And it was, covering the indie scene in the Chicagoland area. We didn't see a lot of people covering that. So I'm like, all right, this is what we like, this is what we enjoy. And it seems that you're enjoying what you're doing, right? So it translates across the audience, is able to follow and kind of I want to see what the next step is right after this, right? Like, how do you grow that audience? How do you add another layer, and just kind of capitalize on that momentum? So, congrats on that. But I did want to take a step back, um,
Mm.
because I am missing that piece. Where do you go from like this young, you're still pretty young, Sean Logan,
Yeah.
You are.
to
Compared to us.
um to the Black and Brave, right? Like, how do you find wrestling and how do you start training?
So, Chicagoland wrestling. You guys familiar with a guy named Tony Rican?
Yeah,
Yes.
we've had him on the podcast a few times. Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah,
Okay.
baby.
So when I'm 12 years old, my father said, if you work at a restaurant for all summer, you could get a wrestling ring. And I don't know how hard I really worked for that, but I worked
Yeah,
at the restaurant all summer, and he said we could split, to get a 12 by 12 wrestling ring. And Tony Rican was a friend of a coworker of a wife.
yeah.
It was just like three or four mutual friends, right? And Tony Rican trained me when I was 12 years old, okay? And he would come out every Saturday and train me in 2012. And then, um, with that being said, about that first 6 months, he was just like, all right, like we need to start taking you to the indie shows. You're too young to be in the ring, to wrestle, but we can have you start being a referee. So I go to
Okay.
Maryville, Indiana, a company called Fire Pro Wrestling, and I would referee for them about 4 years. And then there's a company in Indiana called NGW, and they gave me an opportunity to wrestle when I was 16 years old. Um, Now, a good tactic is the wrestle under, they call it wrestling under a hood, but a mask.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And, when you're starting out, you could screw up and no one knows it's you. So I wrestled as a character called El Muchacho. And from when I was in the about 18, in Indiana area, and just got some simple basic reps, starting out there. And then, I had and I love my brother and sister, but uh but with that being said, I turned 18, I graduated high school, and my parents are kind of like, "Oh, you're like my sister, she flunked out of college, my brother flunked out of college. Like you're going to be the one to like, go to college, right?" And I'm like, "All right,
Hmm.
hold up. Like I get the idea of going to college, but we know the goal of life here. It's to be a professional wrestler." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, can I go to professional wrestling school instead?" And they're like, okay, like obviously I somehow earned their respect to do that for me. So
Okay.
I went to Harley Race Wrestling Academy right out of high school. Um, and then after I trained there, right after I went straight to Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. Then I'm about 19 years old, 2019, and kind of starting to get my foot, in a couple. We're wrestling for SCW. That's an Iowa promotion, the home
Yeah.
promotion for Black and Brave. So wrestling there a little bit, starting to get a little couple of reps. Then pandemic kind of hits, because it did get to the point where I did get a tag team like tour with my buddy Robbie J in Canada. I wrestled in Montreal, Quebec for like a week. I think
Cool.
we had 3 shows and a training session, and we had to do a music or like a montage video for the tag team. And then right when I got back, they were like, if you would have been stuck there for another week, like you would have been stuck there for a month because the pandemic wasn't letting people across the border.
Holy shit.
So
Mm.
yeah, so that, but then yeah, and then that's when obviously COVID happened, and then once things started rolling, I was like, all right, we gotta start rolling back in the game too, because you put all your eggs in one basket in professional wrestling, and now that like there's no shows, it's like what the heck's going on? So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. If that
D-
hopefully
mm,
answers your question.
Yeah,
it
that's for
does.
me.
I mean, yeah, yeah. And at what point the second wrestling come in? Post
Second
pandemic,
reps.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that company.
Mhm.
So I would say 2023. A referee buddy I got really close with. His name's Derek Martha. He wrestles. He wrestles a lot of the Chicagoland shows. Um, somehow we found out we both are from DeKalb, and it's a small world, right? And so with that being said, Derek was like, "Oh, there's this new promotion. A rabbi promotes it." And I'm like, "What? Like that's so pro indie wrestling. Like, that's so indie wrestling."
Yeah.
But so I was like, "Okay, I'll go to it." Like they're having Chelsea Green. Like that sounds awesome. And the thing I'm really blessed with that is like they run Thursdays and Sundays, and I pretty much because implications with the religion, he doesn't really want to run too many Saturdays. So,
Okay.
and I don't quite know specifics of being Jewish, but I know
Right.
a lot of times he can't make. We've had a Saturday show, but I know like there's certain times he can't be there till later. So it's usually a Thursday or Sunday show, which is fantastic for me. Being a professional wrestler, I could still always fill my Friday and Saturday dates and always commit to him on Thursdays and Sundays. So I went and helped out like I do. I always recommend that because too many people are just sending their freaking footage to a promoter and saying, "Hey, book me." And it's like, yo, like I've always found it where you meet the person, you go set up the ring, meet the person in person, promoter in person, and
Hmm.
you shake their hand, and it's a real life connection you make there. Whether they like you or not, that's probably the most positive way. It's just what's worked for me, right? And I'm not saying
Yeah.
go out and set. I'm not saying go out and set up every ring at every show you work for, but I did that with Rabbi, and I think he really was just eager. He saw me just keep coming, and he didn't like the sabotage Sean Logan character, and that's kind of where the influencer Sean Logan came in. And he
Yeah.
told me
Explain
that,
that.
yeah, yeah. So I think it was a show, it was third show maybe. He kind of tells me just like I like you, but I don't like the character and respect. Some people like sabotage because they just want a brawler on their show. I get it, but it's that's the beautiful thing about professional wrestling. I really do think it's great that we're kind of like actors, and we're here to fulfill a role. And if WWE came to me and said, "Hey, we want you to be this," I'm gonna do it, right? So I need to treat
Yeah.
that just like I'm gonna treat, I'm obsessed with this stuff, right? So I should treat it exactly the same. So he comes to me and says, we kind of had a little back and forth of like, okay, I like fantasy football, and I should just tweet about it, and then it just kind of matched up into being the influencer, Sean Logan. He was like, I think we should do that for next show, and I was like, okay, like I'll start brainstorming, right? And then he's like, actually, let's do it today. And I'm like, what? I have nothing. So I'm like, what in the world? So I went in my car. I went in referee Derek Martha's car. I'm like, what can we piece together? I looked like crazy, man. Right? I had my trunks, but my Hartenbauer like cut off shirt. I had these random aviators on, and I put my hair up in a bun instead of having it down. I was a mess, but I somehow just took the role that he gave me, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I made the most of it. And somehow he saw something and said, I think we got something there." And the rest has been history, trial and error of the character, but we just keep progressing. And yeah, it's really taken off. And now I'm the Maxwell Street Heritage Champion there. So life's crazy.
Yeah. And buffet bracket champion. So
Yeah, you got that right. That's the more important one.
yeah. How shot there it is on the screen if you're watching
Let's
YouTube.
go.
Great, just a great flow there in that photo. Absolute great flow.
Yes.
Yeah, does that when this is first going on, you're like, what the hell is this? But are you happy with like the voter turnout? Obviously, there was like it started getting up to like 100 people voting, I think, per post. So and they all wanted you. So how does that make you feel?
It definitely makes me feel good. I think I'm not gonna say it myself, but like I guess I can only speak for myself here. Is like I think I got a I patient. I got in professional wrestling. I think sometimes in wrestling, I know when I started, like I think a lot of people, I was very shy, very to myself, and like I didn't want to say anything. I
Mhm.
was okay not speaking up, but then I learned that like you kind of got to speak up a little bit and have some respect in yourself to just like, in a match or to a promoter or to people, you got to make some relationships. So, I think within the last 6 years of wrestling, um, kind of full on wrestling, I think I've just I'll say this. I'll say this. Trevor Outlaw, you guys are familiar with him, and as much as
Unfortunately,
Mhm.
yes.
yeah, he's the biggest heel. He's the biggest heel of them all. I love him, and however, he said something that kind of like I think resonates with like the whole thing. Um, sorry, excuse. There's a train right behind me,
You're good.
so he said, Sean, I feel like you're one of the only guys that I've never heard a bad word about in a locker room. And I think I have probably like built that reputation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid to like say if someone's giving me critiques, I think I want them to be truthful,
Yeah.
and I'm not afraid, I don't sugarcoat anything, I'm obsessed with this stuff. I don't want to like leave a match and just be like, oh, we did excellent. Like I'm the best professional wrestler. No, like I want to always
Mhm.
have someone to work on. And so I'll always, dish that back if I care about you. But so whether someone may ever think it's as a diss or not, but like maybe people respect that. But also like I don't know, I'm just a pretty humble guy, and I think I'm very positive, and I think I've at least made a lot of people in those locker rooms just a little bit happier of me being in it, whether it's true or not. But I think that's truly why maybe I won that vote. Maybe
Yeah,
it's a Chicagoland bracket, and I think
absolutely.
I do work for a lot of those companies, and I think I honestly didn't think about. I'm gonna keep like sidebar in here, but like
Go
I
for
didn't
it.
think about how many Chicago promotions there really was until we did that bracket, and it made me like think, wow, like I hear it a
Mhm.
lot. You could get stuck in Texas, there's so many places to work. And I was like, man, like we did this bracket, and I was like, Chicago really is a wrestling hub. Like,
Oh,
like it really
absolutely.
is. So, but I think I've worked for plenty of those promotions, and I still do. And I think it's just I've had a connection with a lot of those fans, and I think it's awesome that they, at least maybe there's no way there's no way they voted me over Maggie Lee because I ain't better than Maggie Lee. I know that, but I would like to think maybe it's because I usually try to take um anytime I always just take my time with a fan. They
Yeah.
spend their hard-earned time and money to come see us wrestle, and like it's the most beautiful thing that they're willing to spend their time to come see us. So any fan interaction, I try to make the most of it because like that's sometimes the most meaningful thing in the world with them. So
Yeah. No, I that's the feedback we've gotten from you. Yeah, which Chris was flashing the bracket that was on the screen a second ago, and yeah, you
oh
had to get through an absolute gauntlet going
yeah,
through a Maggie Lee, who's
yeah,
like the hottest indie wrestler, or like most on fire indie wrestler that there is right now.
yeah,
But I think what helped too is I think you were you were reposting a lot and like
yep,
putting it. You're probably like, I don't know what the hell this is, but then you would just share it. And
yeah,
like I think Chris and I have seen over the years, I think like Chico won one of the one. I think he was did he win the comedy wrestler one, or maybe he got really close or something. Like I don't know if he won, but he got really close. And
yeah,
like the wrestlers that interact with it and share it and retweet, those always do really well in those fan
oh,
votes. So it's a lot of what you're saying too, because like, and I'll transition into AEW because like Trent puts you over all the time, and we're good friends with Trent. But like so it's you being you, but then also too it's you like kind of interacting and sharing with the content as well. So yeah, you had an extra game more than
yeah.
everyone. Maggie Lee, Coda, and Alfonso Gonzalez. And Coda Hernandez and Alfonso Gonzalez are very popular right now.
Yeah, I feel like those are pretty close votes too. I think those are tough ones. I think the only one I did really good was Ren Jones. And that's the thing. I think like I'm trying to think. I really you know, because I work for AAW. Ren Jones is our champion, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly, I don't know where, like, no disrespect to him, because I mean he looks like $1 million. I think he deserves to be our champion there. But I'm trying to think of other places he works, and I don't know if it's just I don't know him personally that I don't know that, or
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot of places, or maybe his social media game doesn't, you know, perception is far greater than reality, right? So at least like maybe I don't get the perception
Yeah.
of like knowing where he wrestles, right? You know,
No,
but
but you hit it on you touch a lot of fan bases, and yeah, I don't think he like shared. And this is fine. This is not me like be mad at him. I don't think he shared any of our stuff either. So
yeah,
it's like, and I think you did, and you touch many of those fan bases. So I think you're kind of spot on with that.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me about Trent and AAW. What was the connection there? Was it the Tony Rican connection that got you in the door there? And how has that been? Because I want to talk about the Bravo family too, but maybe I just let you start.
No, yeah, we could start with get my foot in there. So I remember, yeah, Tony brought me there in 2014 one time. Um, then you know, training Black and Brave, you find out that
Oh yeah,
Danny
that's
Daniels
yeah,
is
yeah,
apparently the guy who trained Merrick and Rollins.
right.
So it's like, oh crap, I gotta work for them. And then I'll never forget. There's a guy named Jackson Kelly. He's from Australia. I think he unfortunately already retired, but Black and Brave alumni, and he was like, hey, like you just graduated. I'm 26 at the time, and he's like, I want to go to AAW, but I need a ride. I was like, screw it. I'm young and I'm ready, to start traveling. So we drive to AAW. Oh, sidebar. So when I went in 2014, my dad catered barbecue for the AAW show. Okay. So like we have a barbecue restaurant. So that was kind of like, all
Oh,
right,
cool.
just sit in the locker room, Sean, and just listen. And I wish, now it's different. But like at the time, I'm like, man, I don't understand what are these guys saying? These matches sound crazy. I'm just like trying to learn to lock up, but
Yeah,
um, so but I was just a fly on the wall listening. I remember like having a random conversation with Scarlett, and it's like she's on TV now. It's like what
yeah.
the heck, like, but um, I think so when I came back in 2019 with Jackson Kelly, and I was like, I'm just gonna come set up the ring. Jackson had a match where he got destroyed by Mance Warner. Like I remember he took a
Hmm.
chair to the chair to the head. But when we rolled in the door, Mike Pekovich, I don't know if you guys had him on the show at
Hmm.
all.
We have
Okay.
it, but we know of them. Yeah.
Okay, so he's another one of those founders of
Hmm.
one of the behind the scene guys of Trent and Danny Daniels. Mike goes up to this is 5 years difference, right? Since last time I've been there. Mike goes, "Oh, you're the barbecue boy." I'm like, "What?" So I'm like, "What? Like, how the heck?" So, then that's when I started kind of rekindling my relationship with Tony Rican, because we've always had a relationship, but there was definitely a couple of years there where when I stopped training with him and started doing the Indiana stuff in 2016 to
Right.
2019 was kind of a little foggy there, but so that's when I was like, Tony, I'm gonna start coming to AAW, and sure enough, the pandemic happens.
Hmm.
And you know what, Danny Daniels, he may not think I'm the best wrestler in the world. I don't know how he views me. I think he is proud of me. He's told me he's proud of me a few times,
There you go.
And but whether I think we did bond really good this last weekend. We had a booth at Squared Circle Expo, and I think it was really nice because we're both magazine lovers, like collectors. So we were
Okay.
both just looking around for old magazines. And then the very next day, we were both at the Chicago Toy Show. So it's we got a good relationship there. And
Yeah.
I think one thing, and at the end of the day, he's just seen how hard I worked to just he didn't probably want to book me at all, and I just kept coming and kept coming, and he's like, I gotta use this kid, and
Yeah.
so that's when I would be booked as Sabotage Sean Logan, and he's just like, I don't know what to do with him. And then he put me in the faction with the Bravo family.
Right. That was an epic run.
Yeah,
That was good.
it's definitely was cool. We turned on Hartenbauer, and just so happened Hartenbauer tore his bicep right, and It wasn't from the match. It was from when we turned on him. So remember that. But we tore his bicep. But yeah, no, so we kicked him out of the group. Definitely a little bit like it's crazy to see. I think it's crazy to see. It kind of seems like I guess I kind of understand how NWO they'd have all these random guys like come and go and like they be part of the NWO and then they're not, or just it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like Davey Vega, Johnny Bravo, and then me. I guess have been the only ones there since day one, and because I mean Hartenbauer, he's gone now, but like we had Bruss Hamilton now, he's in the group, but we
All
had
right.
like
Yeah.
Kaya McKenna was in it. She got hurt at one point. I'm just trying to think. There's just like
Yeah.
I mean, Allie. No one even knows Allie Catch was supposed to be in it, and then I think was only part of it for one time or one
Oh, I didn't even know that.
precursor. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy. And then Shaza was kind of part of it, and now she's not. So
Right.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how people come and go. But yeah. I guess in a run, I guess we are. And then there's rumor there may be another one coming. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I mean I can't really say much there, but
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, so it is crazy how stuff. It's just it gave me a platform. I think Danny was just like, okay, I don't know what to do with you, kid, but like, just learn from these guys, And then
Yeah.
if I watch Davey Vega wrestle like a maniac, like it's fantastic, and then I can learn promo skills from Johnny Bravo, and then I do these segments, and I just got one-liners, and then I'm getting these little 3-4 minute matches on a live. It's honestly just very developing and helping me out for my career, and I'm very
Yeah.
thankful. And I don't think Danny knows how grateful I am, but like AAW is just, I think, a very top promotion for the last 20 years, and it's just great that I've been able to develop under that, this last 3 years.
Yeah. No, and long may it continue. But yeah, I think that was I'm more specifically like talking about like the Vega title run when you guys were the four like with
Yes,
Hartenbauer. That felt
gotcha.
like when
Yeah,
the faction was like the strongest.
strongest. Yeah.
Um, and I think it is like kind of a masterclass of like if Chris and I were to sit down and be like put four people in a faction, I don't think we could have come up with you four. And so at first it seemed very ragtag, but then it just like started to kind of work.
Yeah,
And I think everyone had their strengths, but I think the coolest part for you was that like I found out about you through that because I think that faction elevated you because
yeah,
it gave you a purpose. You were kind of the whipping stick of the group, but you did promos and like you had a line in a promo. So you kind of it didn't feel like you needed to necessarily carry a promo. Everyone kind of chipped in on it,
yeah,
and it was like four people doing a promo. And I think it just really elevated you in my eyes to like figure out who this guy is, and like you started to feel bad for you because you would be the whipping stick so much. So I think it was kind of a masterclass of like, yeah, maybe I don't know what to do, but like all these people collectively made it into this cool thing, and I'm sure like Danny and people backstage helped and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think you draw it up on the board and it doesn't look exciting, and then you guys just made it so great, like made that a really really good like title run for Vega in your own way. So
yeah. I think that was definitely a nice run for Vega for sure. I think. I mean, it's interesting seeing the current one. Like, we had the beef title run, and then now we have the
oh
red
yeah,
zone.
he was like a part of it for like a week or like a
Oh
month
yeah,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He was. Yeah,
I
I
forgot about
forgot.
that.
But yeah, man, it is fascinating how pro wrestling works. But and it's honestly just interesting to see what's going to be next. But I don't know. I really think Vega's title run was probably because then we had Jake Somethings and then Fitchett's, but like I don't know, I didn't. That's just me being biased and part of it, but I really thought that was a top title run of AAW in the last since I've been there.
Yeah, it was one of like since the restart, it was
Yeah,
very memorable. Like a very memorable run since like kind of wrestling came back, honestly.
yeah,
So like maybe the most memorable since like wrestling came back. But like it just kind of felt like the faction grew into this entity and the entity was very, very strong as a
yeah.
whole. And that elevated each and every one of you. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Chris, we're running out
it,
of bullets here, but it's been an amazing time. Do you have anything else that you want to ask Sean?
I mean, as we're coming closer to the end, we talked about inspirations and future goals, but do you watch any wrestling on your free time? Like, and if you
Do
do, what do you watch?
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like on my free time, because I do try to study when I'm at these shows, and but when I watch on my free time, I'm usually watching some Bret Hart.
Okay.
That was the thing too. I try to do like a match study once a day, and I'll usually type in a wrestler I like, and then like hopefully just see whatever YouTube opponent pops up, and that'll be my
Mhm.
study of the day.
Mm.
And my study notes have I really upped that game because I used to just do like match structure, but now like I really like freaking went in and like all right, like we need to be learning every time we watch a match. So I'll be like, if it's a 10-minute match, I'll probably be watching that for like 45 minutes because like I'm pausing, writing, and
Oh shit, that's
so it's
intense.
it, yeah, but it's really beneficial now, and I think it's like wow, like let's make the most of it, right? Let's not freaking do it half, So, um, but yeah, I'm usually watching. Okay, I'll say this. So I'll watch Brett, Triple H, Orton, Taker on my free time, like when I'm doing the study stuff. Just people I like: Jericho, Edge, Roddy Piper. I have to watch him a lot. But those are usually who I watch when I study. Now, for free time, I am obsessed with watching AWA. I don't know why. Like, I don't know, you guys. It's such a weird thing because it's wrestling, but like, if I had to have something on to relax me, love watching AWA or NWA, but like the TV, like it's kind of just like the TV shows where there's like one side of fans. I think those would
Yeah.
be like the
Yeah,
world. Would it be like the world class championship wrestling or?
yeah, with that like green and blue ring
Yes,
or
yeah,
apron, and
yeah.
they're like taking bumps
Yeah.
on like the cement floor. It looks so.
Yeah, so I just watched one the other day. Yeah, some guy was going ham, and I was like, "Why?" Like there was like 30 people. Like,
I know
but
it's two rows of seats.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's the passion of the game, I guess. But
yeah,
but yeah, no, yeah, that I love watching. Gosh, I think I would say Mid South, and then I'm trying to think. I'm definitely like, I definitely love going to WWE Network and finding like the territory ones.
okay. It's a lot of old
Cause
stuff.
yeah, I that's my favorite thing to watch. I don't care to watch. I guess since I've been doing a lot of extra work lately, I've been very like into every Raw and SmackDown. I will say that every week
Okay.
because it's like I love when I work one and then like I'm like, okay, well, like I was a part of this, so like I gotta watch it. And it's like, okay, like let's see who else like I saw get not only get extra work, but like I'm watching the whole show now. And I've always watched Raw like since every Raw since like 2010, And
Yeah.
some now it's easier to watch them or just like get like these social medias can just do like a quick like here's what happened and but like with
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I would so yeah, what I would answer your question, what I watch is any territory thing that's on the network. And then I watch Raw and SmackDown every week.
Yeah. No, I love the appreciation for the older stuff. And like I wouldn't say that's around my time. I'm only 35, but like you're
Yeah,
10 years younger than me and you
yeah,
still know that there's gems. Like, you're respecting like the path that was paved before you and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. Sean, I'm like, I didn't know much about you going to this. And I'm like so impressed. And I feel like I learned so much. I've had an amazing time. The place is so cool. Your work ethic is even better. I've had
Thank
an
you, man.
amazing time. So yeah, Chris, I don't know if you have anything else, but I think we maybe give Sean the floor to maybe
Yeah,
just stay
share
where you can
share some
find him.
socials. Yeah, for sure. But just I do want to thank you for the time and like just I do want to add on to what Larry. Okay, I don't know who Larry is. And Charlie was saying, um, the intentionality behind everything that you put together, that you do, that you explain to us. Like I feel like there's intention behind everything,
Yeah.
and that is so
Okay.
refreshing to hear, that you're taking this so serious, and you're really building on top of every block to get to where you're going. So
Yeah.
so congrats, and thank you for that, for sharing that. But
No,
for
that,
sure,
yeah.
please share your socials with us, and to the listeners, so we can follow you and keep up with everything that you got going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I appreciate that too, guys. Like, I really do think it's like the truly have to make it to the top. Like, you do have to be. Goggin says something best where I'm like, like you're gonna be people are like when you're doing whatever it takes to reach your goals, you're gonna be so misunderstood that people are gonna think you're crazy and nuts and like. But that's what it takes. You know, you have to be so obsessed and like sometimes people put obsession like a bad label on obsession, but like I don't know, like just being obsessed with someone you love and just trying to make it. And that is true. You guys know Jason Midas. Um,
Yes.
so
Mhm.
he asked me one time in at a second wrestling locker room, and it kind of opened my eyes. But he goes, Sean, what do you do like outside of wrestling? Like what do you enjoy? And I just like I couldn't think because legitimately every aspect of my day is thinking about wrestling and whether that's good or bad, but like it's just like I said, everything I do in life like is like is about wrestling. And I will say one thing this year I've tried to make sure I make when I go to wrestling trips, like I try to make and see it travel a little bit, but my
Yeah.
buddy just hit me up the other day. He's like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna go to Florida. Like, I want you to come spend a week and like we're gonna celebrate." And I'm like, I was like, you know what? Nothing against you, man, but like, there's no promotions we're gonna be wrestling for out there, right? And he's like, yeah. And I said, I just don't think I care, or it's nothing against you, but I'm not passionate to go do a vacation if I'm not trying to work wrestling around it, you know? And it just, it's such a weird thing. You might think I'm just crazy, but like this whole Vegas trip, I would never in a million years in my house to go to Vegas, but I was able to network, wrestle, connect with new fans, promotions, experience a WrestleMania, work for extra work.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm trying to make the most of everything I do. So I appreciate you guys recognizing that, and it just that's what I try. I try to just literally do whatever it takes to reach my goals, you know.
Yeah.
And if I could go to sleep knowing that I did that every night, then it's truly a good day. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like, but I guess for socials, it's sabotage Sean on all platforms, and my TikTok I never want to get a TikTok, but I got it for hot dog and a handshake. So we got the hot dog and the handshake show on TikTok and Instagram. But my favorite platform's Instagram, sabotage Sean on there because I'm just an Instagram guru.
I love it. I love it. And it sounds like you're enjoying it too. So if you ever get to the point where you're not enjoying it, I think take a step back, but you're enjoying it, keep going. Chris and I will be behind you. And yeah,
Absolutely,
Chris.
yeah.
Mhm.
I appreciate it, guys. And like that was like this week I got going on. It's I'm going to a school for so I got on Saturday I'm wrestling for a company called Pro Wrestling Epic, and then Sunday I'll be wrestling for Devin Anderson referee memorial show at Galley Lucha.
Saw
But
that, yeah.
then and then Friday, but that Friday before, I'm actually going to a school to freaking. They're doing like career day, and I'm there to represent like my career of pro wrestling. I'm like, what in the world am I doing? But
That's
we
awesome.
shall,
That's
we
awesome.
shall
That's
see.
so cool.
I guess it is cool. Yeah, I'll make the most of it. But yeah, it's just life's crazy that I'm doing that. That's wild.
That's great.
Yeah, make sure you take some t-shirts. Sell them kids some t-shirts.
Yeah, I'll make them all follow. I'll make them all follow me on Instagram too. Yeah.
There
Awesome.
you
Well,
go.
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, man. We'll definitely be seeing you at upcoming shows. Make sure that everyone stays up to date on things that you're doing. Congrats again on being the final buffet bracket champion as we close out
Awesome.
this year, being our last year as a
Awesome.
podcast, and this crazy idea that we've been doing every year. So, again, you won for a reason. people want to see you. People know you. People know who you are.
Agreed.
So congrats on that. And as far as Two Heels in the Face, you can follow us Two Heels in the Face everywhere, all social media, but mainly I think at this point is Instagram, Facebook, number Two Heels in the Face. You can check out our website, Two Heels in the Face, number Two Heels in the Face.com. So with that being said, we'll just catch another episode down the road. We'll be on 282, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
This is 281.
Right. That's why
Yeah.
next episode will be 282.
The road to 300 continues.
There you go. All
There you
right.
go.
Thank you guys. Have a
Bye.
good one.
Awesome.